So this is probably going to be the last update that I do before I get back from France, from my little holiday. I get back on Thursday evening, so it's now Tuesday evening. It's last night in the campsite, and then tomorrow we're going to stay in our Formula One hotel, and then on Thursday we're going to go back via the ferry back to the UK. So it's been a good trip. We met up with... Yes, it's been a really good trip, a really nice little holiday. We met with one of my wife's friends today, so someone she went to school with and also worked with for a couple of years, so knows her pretty well, and she's lived down here for about 14 years now with her husband. They live on their own personal pensions. They came down before all the Brexit rules changed, so they didn't have to worry about the 90-day rule or the applying for visas or anything like that at all. So she wasn't able to advise me on that, or help with any of the legalities around that. But it gave us a really good insight as to what living in France is like. And they don't speak the language massively. She speaks it a little bit better than us, although our accents are probably better. I don't know. Yeah, probably similar actually. But we get by absolutely fine with our knowledge of French. And as far as the tax situation is concerned, they pay tax in the UK still, but I think that's because they came pre-Brexit. So again, they've not really had to deal with tax returns and stuff. Her husband works or has done some work as a gardener, so I don't even think they came in. They didn't need a business visa. There was no such thing as a business visa or entrepreneur visa back then, because you could just come and go as you please, and you could work in Europe and work abroad anyway. So the rules from pre-Brexit stayed with them because they were already here. So yeah, a different situation, but all very nice. We met up with the other lady the northern lady that we came across the other day up at the patisserie. We met again. And she apparently, she admitted she didn't know really any French. She said she's trying, but I mean, in 5 years, even if you were trying, you'd know more than that, more French than that. But anyway, she said she's kind of hooked up with a lot of other expats. There's quite a few English around the place where we are, Ambrier-la-Vallée, so she obviously doesn't mix that much with French people. She's mainly the English, which is not what we're going to be doing. It's nice to have a contact down here, but we're more interested in kind of integrating with the French, or just staying away from people and enjoying our retirement on our own. Some people said we might get bored in retirement. Let me just say this: I will never get bored not working. All I'd have to do if I ever felt a tang of being bored, all I'd need to do is think of the massive mortgage payment going out each month and having to go out to work just to scrape the bills together. Then I would realise and contextualise being bored is not what's going to happen to me. Absolutely not. I've got plenty of things I've never had the time to do, plenty of things that I've had to scrape time to do that really don't cost a lot as well. So yeah, I'll be filling my time. And even if I'm sitting in a camping chair on a campsite or something outside of my motorhome, or sitting in my garden on my French property, I might have nothing to do, but that doesn't mean I'm bored. Having nothing to do and being bored are two very, very different things. So that's the way I would put it anyway. So I had a comment earlier asking me to put the listings of the properties that I'd been talking about. Two things on that. One, really easy to search. Two, these are properties that I'm possibly looking to purchase, so I'm not really going to advertise them, am I? But if you wanted to search for properties anywhere in France, just go on to, just type in French properties in France, and you'll get probably Leggett and Cleef France are the main two immobiliers or estate agents that will come up. Even Rightmove do them as well. And then just refine your search for how much you want to spend, and we always select price from low to high and look at the lowest properties and going up. That's basically how you find them. It's pretty straightforward. So in the meantime, while I've had some time here on holiday, I've been researching a little bit more about the visa situation, and with our income that we've got, plus the savings that we'll have, especially after selling the house in the UK, we will have absolutely no problem having a visa. So the idea going forward is to make sure that we've got as much income as possible, so that we can barely, if at all, draw down on my pension, so that we can have that money and just use the fact that we've got that money in my bank, in my SIP, to demonstrate that we won't need to work and we won't need to be relying on the state when we move to France. So that will be the idea. So what we'll probably do is we'll get a motorhome, sell the property, and get all the money into my SIP or in a tax efficient vehicle as possible, get it invested in a dividend or interest paying account that's safe. I don't want to be at the beck and call of the markets, especially not, with what's happening over in the US. Things that a certain person says can affect the markets massively, and it's just too volatile for my safety, and I'm not risking that. I'm absolutely not risking it. So they'll go into a nice safe haven that I can guarantee a pretty good return, and doesn't matter if they don't gain, as long as the money just still sits there and stays the same and I don't lose. Then we can demonstrate income through savings and income. So that'll be the way to go. So what we'll probably do is spend the first year touring in the motorhome, have a look at some places, and spend 3 months at a time, so 6 months of the year, less than 183 days in France, so that we don't have to worry about the tax for the first year. And then look at, when we finally decided on a place to buy, on an area that we want to buy in, then we'll narrow that down and then buy a property, and then go for the visa full on, bring all the taxes over. Not that we'll be paying a lot of tax, their tax threshold's similar to the UK, it's a little bit less. So yeah, unlikely we'll be paying a great deal of tax anyway, but really not a problem. And then we can, that way with a visa, then we can do 1 year visa, renew it every year, and then after a couple of years you can get a 2 or 4 year visa, and then even a 5 year visa, and then go on to get a 10 year visa. Some people just do the year ones every year. So but as long as we can show the income and the savings for that, we will do, and that should be fine. Then we can come back to the UK as and when we need to, which we will do. At least once a year we'll be coming back to see family, and our kids. Our kids are grown up, and they're all on board with this, and they'll be coming to visit us in France, especially if we get a property. So that'll be the idea. But at least that way we've got a year out, and we'll see whether we like it or not. We might not like to spend that long here. I've only ever spent, the longest I've spent in France is 3 weeks in one go, and on our honeymoon. So but we have spent a lot of time over the years here, and we do love it, and we prefer it. To be honest, we prefer just the way of life to the UK. We prefer it here. So we want to retire here, really. At the end of the day, that's what we want to do. Anyway, the rest of the video is kind of a bit of a mishmash, talking from yesterday. So I've added that onto the end of this one. So anyway, I'll catch up with you all soon when I get back off holiday. Cheers. Well, that's a lovely willow tree. The only problem that I've come up with, the only problem at the moment, is that French drivers, especially French Audi drivers, are as bad as UK Audi drivers. Could be an issue. So I've just turned up at a little small village just outside of where we're camping, and there's a place called Velo Rail, which is a contraption that is on the track of an old disused, I'm assuming it's a disused railway, I'm hoping, where you can pedal around 6k around the railway track. So we're just going to go and do that now. Good fun, eh? Oh, this is hairy. Apparently we've got to lift this thing off. It weighs 110 kilos. So me and the wife have got to lift this thing off over the crossing. It's a bit scary. I'll let you know how we get on in a minute. So I've just had to push this thing across the road. There's the road there. It's like a main road coming through. We've just had to push it manually under these signs, and then if we got someone coming the other way, we're going to have to lift the thing off the rails and then put it back on again. Excuse the sweaty face. I've just had to cycle the velo thing right uphill. It was all downhill on the way down, all uphill on the way up, and they don't tell you that. It was very good though, quite interesting, because we came across a group of people from England who are from Essex, and they got a property in this village. I believe it was this village, they said, and they're moving over on a entrepreneur visa or business visa So we were having a chat about all of that and how to do that. So that's really good. It's got us thinking, food for thought. So you just never know when you're going to meet the right people. Awesome. Bim's o'clock. So I've just done a shop at the Mousquetaires. I think, well, it's an Intermarché anyway, big shop. We spent 38 euros, and if I just translate that directly to pounds, 38 quid, what we got, I reckon, was about in between Aldi and Sainsbury's prices, just because where we live in the UK is we use Aldi and then we use Sainsbury's for anything we can't get in Aldi. So yeah, 38 euros is probably about 30 quid, just over 30 quid off the top of my head, which isn't bad. You know, I got 2 steak hachés there, we got some crisps, we got some baguette, we got some other bits and pieces, we got some non-alcoholic beers. So yeah, I think prices here, you know, rather than actually note down exact prices, I thought this is a little way out of town. It's not like one of these massive casino stores that you get kind of, you know, that we're used to visiting, like when we were down in south of France near a big city. But I wanted to see what the prices are like, and they're very comparable. So we already know that we can live frugally on our own shop prices in the UK. So I've budgeted similar for France, and it looks like I'm on point for meeting that budget, which is really good. So yeah, that's another win for today.